Welcome to S'mores Indoors and the Midnight Files. I am Corey, your host, and tonight's topic is going to be the Max Headroom incident. So we're going to talk about that. We'll talk about a little bit of news of the weird, I guess, as well. But we'll get started here with a little info about Max Headroom first. So imagine it is Sunday night, November 22nd, 1987. You're sitting at home watching television. There is no internet. There is no social media. There is no phone in your hand that can immediately tell you whether the strange thing you just saw happened to anyone else. Television is still a one-way street. The station broadcasts and you watch. And the people inside that station decide what appears on your screen. Until, without warning, they don't. The picture breaks apart. The normal program disappears. Static flashes across the screen. Then a figure appears wearing a rubber mask of Max Headroom, the computer-generated television personality who seemed to be everywhere in the late 1980s. The figure sways in front of the moving metal background. The image is warped. The sound is distorted. Nothing about it looks like it belongs on television. And it doesn't. Nobody at the station knows who this person is. Nobody authorized the broadcast. For a few moments, nobody is entirely sure how to make it stop. That night, somebody hijacked two Chicago television stations within roughly 2 hours. The first interruption lasted only seconds. The second became one of the strangest 90 seconds ever broadcast on American television. The FCC investigated. Broadcast engineers studied what happened. Amateur investigators have spent decades examining every word, movement, and possible clue. But the people behind the mask have never been publicly identified. Tonight on the Midnight Files, we are opening the file on the Max Headroom incident. Not only how someone took control of live television, but why they chose Max Headroom, what they may have been trying to accomplish, and how a bizarre prank became an unsolved piece of media history. And joining me tonight to talk about Max Headroom and some other news here, paranormal news, we have Flesh Wound Dan. What's up, Dan?
What's up, Corey? How are you doing?
I am doing well.
That's good to hear. I'm all in the Halloween mood. I got the pumpkin spice going. We're almost there. It's officially Halloween season, and I'm very excited to talk about the Max Headroom incident because I was a big fan. I am a big fan of Max Headroom. Who people are familiar with the series, but I mean, he started on a TV movie back in 1985, a British TV movie, Max Headroom, 20 Minutes into the Future.
Right.
And it was very unique for the time and for a relatively short-lived thing. He was kind of like the face of pop culture for a minute.
Yeah, it definitely was. And it's one of those things. I was at the age, like 10 years old, and that was one of the coolest things was Max Headroom back in the day because it just seemed so cutting edge and different. So I'm excited to talk about this, but we got some paranormal news to get into first. So we'll jump into that. We got a few stories here. This is the story it's weekly nowadays, but we got Drew in here too. What's up, Drew?
What's up, Drew?
So the biggest story of the week, on August 7th, the Pentagon released another collection of material dealing with unidentified anomalous phenomena, or UAPs. This release contained 41 files, including documents, photographs, and videos originating from several different government agencies. And there are a couple things buried in this release that caught people's attention. One involves a military pilot describing an encounter over Afghanistan back in 2002. According to the report, the pilot saw an enormous triangular object in the night sky that was so large it actually appeared to block out the stars behind it. There's also some newly released infrared footage involving what intelligence reports described as cold orbs. That footage came from an AC-130J gunship and shows objects observed over the Gulf of Oman. According to the accompanying report, these things were estimated to be around 4 feet in diameter. AARO points out that what we're seeing isn't the original sensor footage. It's actually a recording of the infrared display, meaning there are limitations to exactly what can be determined from the video. And importantly, the Pentagon isn't saying these are alien spacecraft. They are saying they were unidentified. And I think that's where this whole subject has gotten really interesting. 20 or 30 years ago, merely talking seriously about UFOs could get you laughed out of the room. And now the government has an office dedicated to investigating them. Military personnel are reporting them, and actual footage is being publicly released. So when you guys look at how much conversation surrounding UFOs has changed, what do you think we're actually learning from all these releases?
I mean, at this point, it is interesting because I would even say even 10 years ago, you're still going to largely be laughed at. And now I don't know. It seems like it's legit, and I don't know why they don't just go out and say it. I don't think that there's going to be panic in the streets, just flat out saying like, yes, maybe we can't elaborate on everything, but aliens are real. We have technology. There's some strategy in that too, just flat out saying you've got it and you're working on stuff. So, I mean, why not?
Admittingly, I'm not caught up on all of it. Has it happened yet that, like, I mean, I guess based off of what you just said, Dan, there isn't any blatant, yes, aliens are real and they're humanoid bodies, like in science fiction movies. Like, that's what I'm waiting for. Like, specifically
I mean,
that.
There are people who have said it. I just mean like how do I put this? Like they just make it official. It's like, yes, we've got it. I don't know that they would go as far as to just show the bodies, but just, yes, we've got it. And there's strategy and just saying like, yeah, we got it. And we have been working on certain technologies. You could still make the enemy, air quotes, wonder what you're doing with it, how much you've got. I understand they're not going to be like, yes, about 20 years ago, we actually have these ray guns that can cut planets in half. I don't think they're going to be that specific, but I don't know. I just think it would be good for humanity to just have a definitive, yeah, we're not alone. There's other things out there. And
yeah, I feel like that would be pretty profound.
That would be the biggest thing I think to ever happen.
Ever. Yeah.
And
that's why all these releases, it smells of. It's why people think it smells of distraction from other things that are going on. So,
but how much of it is really distracting? I mean, because like if you tune into the news, the Iran bullshit.
Well, yeah, it's not working. It's obviously not working.
But now you drop like a fucking alien body on the news, like, yeah, they're not going to give a shit about Iran.
That's the October surprise this year before the election. They're just dropping the bodies right there. So.
This is Xenu. I told you, you pussies, I'd get him first.
Let's do some shout outs real quick. We got Orc out there. Greg Bundy connected. What's up? Ben Graham, of course. Mustard Works. And I think it's everybody so far. Thank you all for being here. Our next story comes from India. And this one sounds like the opening of 10 minutes of a horror movie. At a government residential school in, I'm going to butcher this name, so I'm going to skip the name of the place. Rumors began circulating that several girls were behaving strangely. Students reportedly began crying, laughing uncontrollably, fainting, and becoming unresponsive. Then came stories of possession. Some students claimed they could hear the sound of anklets jingling through the hostel, and rumors began spreading that the building itself was haunted. And panic became so intense that around 600 students left the school and went home. Health officials eventually examined the affected students. Their conclusion wasn't demons or ghosts. They attributed the behavior to psychological stress, dissociative symptoms, and what is commonly called mass psychogenic illness or mass hysteria. Officials also noted issues including overcrowding and poor conditions at the school. So you got two radically different versions of what happened. From the student's perspective, something frightening was happening in that building. From the medical's perspective, fear and stress began spreading through a group of people until it manifested physically. And honestly, both possibilities are pretty fascinating, because even if there wasn't something paranormal happening, the idea that fear itself can spread through hundreds of people and begin producing real physical symptoms is pretty wild. So when something like this happens to an entire group of people, how do you guys start separating? What would you do to start separating what might have been psychological from what the witnesses themselves believe they experienced?
It sounds to me like, I don't know, they ate like the teacher's special brownies or something. Like, it could be something like that. Oh shit.
Yeah.
They're just all gone.
Doesn't this kind of thing happen like in churches where like everybody starts wiggling around and speaking tongues? Isn't this like the same kind of thing?
Sounds like it. To me, it sounds like a cabin fever type thing.
Yeah. I mean, it's weird, obviously, when you have like a big group of people doing that, but I'm sure the building might be like a shithole. Maybe there was some sort of chemical thing. I mean, it sounds like you're missing a piece of the story. Yeah. There are ways. I mean, LSD, whatever. I don't know. Somebody got something spiked. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not going paranormal necessarily on that, but it can be pretty like wild. I've heard of stories. I mean, just because it's a drug related or chemical sort of thing doesn't mean that's not really funky to see.
Yeah. All right, well, let's go. Our next story is going to Scotland, because apparently Nessie has decided that 2026 is the year to get back in the news. The official Loch Ness Monster sightings register currently lists 11 reported sightings at the loch this year. One of the more recent ones happened on July 27th. John and Jamie Wallace were visiting Loch Ness when they photographed what appears to be a strange dark shadow beneath the water. They say there wasn't anything above the water that would have caused the shadow, and that's not the only recent report. Just a few days earlier, another visitor reported seeing what appeared to be a dark green head emerged from the water near Urquhart Castle. I think I said that right. Followed by two humps and then movement farther behind that the witnesses believe could have been a tail. Now, obviously, none of this proves there's a giant prehistoric monster living in Loch Ness. There have been countless proposed explanations over the years. Large fish, seals, logs, boat wakes, optical illusions, and probably a healthy amount of tourism keeping the legend alive. But here we are in 2026. We have cameras everywhere, sonar, drones, webcams. People have searched that lake for decades, and people are still reporting something. So after all these years of searching Loch Ness, what possibilities do you guys think are still realistically on the table?
Maybe just some fat people boning. I don't know. I don't know. How large is Loch Ness? I know it's a big lake, but is it like, how many miles is it? I mean, I know it's big, but it doesn't feel big enough that something like that could exist without like definitive proof.
I feel like it's not so insurmountable they couldn't scan the whole loch. So
that's kind of like where I'm at now. It could have existed at one point, but and there's certainly like some crazy shit out there in the ocean. Now the ocean, we haven't mapped the majority. There's just so many different places. I mean, we could have prehistoric monsters lurking somewhere in the ocean, but I don't know. Loch Ness, it's one of those ones I'd love to believe. It's cool stories, but it's
I've always wanted to believe that, but literally what you said, Corey, I think destroyed my hopes just about all the different things they could have to detect it these days. Like,
yeah.
We have Lake Lanier not too far out here, and that it's huge, but Yeah, I don't. These are interesting things to think of, but sometimes like the actual confirmed shit. If you look up Lake Lanier, there's a whole like town underneath the water, a church, cemetery, like all kinds of crazy stuff.
Crazy.
I don't know. I just Loch Ness. I mean, how big would Nessie supposedly be? And again, we're just at the point where there would be definitive proof. Everybody's got a camera on their phone. Everybody, modern tech. I just don't know that it could exist there. And like you said, I mean, we're talking decades and decades of people looking.
Yeah. All right, well, let's come back to the United States for this next one. The Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization recently added a new Class A sighting from Colorado. A woman named Lori Bowling says she was traveling along Highway 149 near Lake City on July 28th when she saw something emerge from the edge of the woods. And according to her, this wasn't a shadow in the distance. She says she watched a huge, hairy, upright figure step out of the woods and began walking uphill. One detail that really stuck with her was the way it moved. She described its gait as almost a glide. And the interesting part is she said she didn't believe in Bigfoot before the encounter. Afterward, she definitely did. Potential footprints were also located in the area. Now, eyewitness testimony is always complicated. Human memory isn't perfect. Distances can be deceptive. Animals can look completely different when you only see them for a few seconds. But at the same time, almost the entire history of the Bigfoot phenomenon is built on encounters exactly like this. Somebody is driving, camping, hunting, walking through the woods, and suddenly they see something they insist doesn't fit any animal they've ever encountered. So when someone who says they never believed in Bigfoot suddenly reports an experience like this, do you give that any more weight to personally believing what their report?
I mean, maybe it just. I kind of come to that same thing. It's just there would be give me a video that can be debunked that it's not AI, obviously, and which I believe, at least as of now, you can still debunk that, and just have it in all its glory. We all have good cameras now on our phones. There's not a lot of.
I feel like there would be. I feel like these days there would be more incentive than ever to just make shit up, just to go viral or whatever. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, no, for sure. And again, Bigfoot is not like some crazy thing. I mean, what I'm gonna butcher but Anthropithecus. I'm probably saying that wrong, but it's not wild to believe something like that existed. I mean, dinosaurs existed, giant beasts with feathers. T-Rexes walked the earth. So it could be like just sort of like a passed down thing. My guess is it would have had to have been extinct for at least a couple decades that I could buy that anything like that was really still running around. But yeah, it's just not here. I mean, Pacific Northwest, I mean, come on now. Like, it's been mapped. There's hikers. There's,
Yeah.
It's just too much. Like, it's too convenient that you only get these little glimpses. And the Patterson Gimlin tape now, like, if you look into that, that's pretty obvious that was bullshit. Although, admittedly, and most people would say, the suit at the time was stellar.
Yeah.
That is like one thing, like they said.
Yeah, for sure.
Advanced, but you look into that in the walk, it's pretty obvious who was in the suit. But yeah, I want to believe in that. I really do. That's a tough one. I just can't quite I can't quite get there. But maybe at some point it was.
Yeah. All right. I think this is the final story. Or no, it's not. Never mind. I lied. All right. So I have a video with this one. I'm going to put it in the chat because it's someone else's video. They've got their own voiceover on it. I don't want to share their video, but if you guys want to click it, you can check it out. But A security camera at an apartment complex in Medellin, Colombia, reportedly captured a strange figure moving through a parking garage earlier this month. According to the security guards who saw it, the figure appeared almost transparent. It walks through the parking area, disappears behind a large concrete pillar, emerges again, and then gradually seems to blend into the background before disappearing completely. And the weird part is that the location where it disappears is reportedly well lit. So naturally, once the video hit social media, people immediately divided into two camps. One side says ghost, the other side says camera glitch, compression artifact, lighting problem, or some other completely normal explanation. And that brings us to a problem that paranormal investigators are increasingly going to have. We're surrounded by cameras now, doorbell cameras, security cameras, phones, dash cams. You would think that would make paranormal evidence easier to obtain, but at the same time, cameras create artifacts. Digital video can do strange things, and now we have AI-generated imagery thrown into the mix. So strangely enough, we may have more paranormal video than ever before and less confidence in what we're actually looking at. I'm going to give you this link right now if you guys want to take a look at that footage. So my question to you guys is, how has all this technology changed to what you need to see before you'll take a piece of ghost footage seriously?
Ghost footage is tough because I do believe that there are things and energy, but I think we might have talked about this recently. I just don't think that they appear.
Yeah.
I really don't. And there's also the question, are they really ghosts, or are these just different life forms? You know, maybe something kind of another dimension kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I just really don't believe that they actually appear. I do believe in energy. I could even buy that there are ghosts, spirits, alien life, whatever, just some kind of life, interdimensional beings. But I just don't think that I've ever seen anything where I'm like, okay, yeah, 100%. That's a photo of a ghost. Now, I do believe hauntings are possible. I do believe there are places where this energy, something kind of happens. There's a lot of stories about that, and that I've heard personally from people who are, let's say, atheists sometimes, who don't really believe in anything. And they'll say, like, yeah, I don't know what the hell it is, but that there is some kind of presence here. But I just wonder if it's really like the spirits of dead people. Could be, because again, I always say we're energy, and energy goes somewhere. I just don't think the living visibly see it.
Yeah, I feel like these days, like it would be hard for me to believe something on tape, like just because, I mean, me personally, Dan, I know you were saying before that you think these things with AI can be disproven. I'm sure they can, but there's things that I have trouble deciphering if it's real or not at this point with AI videos. So it would be difficult for me for sure to believe anything.
We're less than probably 5 years away from being able to believe any video. I mean, you know, it's like, yeah, okay, I know that's probably not Hillary Clinton breakdancing, because that would be really weird if she was, but it'll sure as hell look like it. And, you know, it's, yeah.
Little promo here for tonight's Art Bell Classics is going to be on EVPs. What are your thoughts? You have the same thoughts on those as well?
Yeah, I mean, and again, I'm more open on this. It's not like a Loch Ness Monster sort of thing where I just don't think there's anything, except maybe it did exist at one point. I mean, again, dinosaurs, it very well could have. Maybe it's something that just sort of passed down through generations out there.
Right.
So I'm a little more open with ghosts and the spirit world and everything. I sense I don't know. I sense when we die, we go somewhere. I don't think it's just like we hang around and people can see us and everything. I think it might be something else.
Yeah, I was gonna say off of that, I can't relate to this personally, but I know that there are people who are more like intuitive to energy, like you're talking about, Dan. So, if I can't relate to that, like I can only take someone's word for it, and that's difficult, because I don't know what they're describing, what they're feeling. You know what I mean? So I can't relate to it. Sometimes when people say stuff like that, I just think that I don't know, they're just reacting to a vibe or something. But I don't know. I can't relate to it. I don't know what it feels like to feel stuff like that.
Well, like Corey, you've been to Auschwitz, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's probably something to like just the horrors of what went down, and maybe it does kind of leave almost an imprint or something. Like it is entirely possible that we have haunted places.
I could tell you one thing from going there. There's definitely a vibe there. In the back part of that camp, there's like a tree, like a woods, kind of a wooded area.
Mm-hmm.
Is very eerie feeling back there, and I would not at all want to be in that area at night. So,
oh yeah, oh believe me, if I were in a place like that overnight, I'd probably come out believing one way or the other. But yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty open, like I said, with that. I've always had a fascination with like abandoned mental asylums, and
I'm definitely open to believing for sure. I would never say I like a definitive you don't believe in something. I think that's kind of arrogant.
How
to
were
do.
you gonna know?
Just and yeah.
Dan would love if I had Rachel back on. So
Rachel's awesome.
Maybe we'll try to hold her again sometime soon. And no, I didn't go to Normandy, just Germany and Poland. So, yeah. All right, the last story comes out of Cleveland, Texas. Is that close to you, Drew?
I've never heard of Cleveland. Cleveland, Texas.
Okay, just curious. On the night of August 10th, a man spotted something bizarre in the sky. He pulled out his phone and recorded an illuminated object that almost looks like a giant letter C, except it's spinning over and over and over again. Some people online immediately started calling it the buffering UFO because it looks like somebody hit pause on reality and the sky is trying to load. And strangely enough, this apparently isn't the first time something with this basic appearance has been filmed. A similar rotating object was reported in New York back in 2023. Possible explanations include drones, lights, atmospheric effects, or some type of optical phenomenon, but nothing definitive has surfaced. And just to make the UFO situation even stranger, another video surfaced this month from China's Sichuan province, showing what appears to be a dark diamond-shaped object sitting inside a cloud. The witness says he recorded the footage on August 5th and claims it was an unaltered recording. So far, there hasn't been any official explanation for what he captured. Now, obviously, strange-looking footage isn't automatically evidence of extraterrestrials, but I love these cases where objects doesn't look like anything what we're conditioned to think a UFO should look like. No flying saucer, no glowing ball, no black triangle, just a giant spinning C in the sky. When something shows up that doesn't fit any of the usual UFO descriptions, where does your guys' mind go for cases like that?
That one does sound very strange. I don't know. It doesn't really sound necessarily like a weapon being tested necessarily, but it does feel like something's about to happen. Like there has been a lot of stuff, and I'm sure some of it is just nothing burger kind of things, but and just the fact that our technology is advanced to the point where this shit may have always been happening. It's just you didn't hear about it as much, but Yeah, I don't know. There's so much happening in the world right now. I do think that we're effectively in a world war. It's just we don't officially call it that, since all the powers can wipe out all life on Earth essentially at this point, just all by their lonesome. So I don't know. I do feel like maybe some stuff's being tested, and I do wonder if some of it is like just misdirection, like, oh, what the hell are the Americans up to? What are the Russians up to? Kind of stuff. I don't know. That one is bizarre though, because it doesn't seem to fit other UFO lore.
Now, they mentioned a similar video recorded in New York 2023. Here is a link to that video. I couldn't find the Texas one, but there's a link for that video.
Oh.
And Connected used to break into Manteno State Hospital when he was younger. The place was insane. Had underground tunnels, concrete rooms with concrete and steel doors. Pretty scary. Nice. Yeah, I wouldn't want to go in maybe if I had a big group of people, I wouldn't go alone, but something like that. But yeah.
Yeah, I'm it's interesting. I don't know. I'm looking at it now. Hold on here.
Yeah, take your time.
Let's see. Damn YouTube ads.
This stream is brought to you by YouTube Premium.
Let's see here.
Not really.
Yeah, I mean that is interesting footage. I'm looking. Yeah, that is. I don't think I've ever actually seen that.
Yeah, I hadn't either.
I'm trying to think. I mean, again, it could be. That just doesn't really look like a craft to me.
Yeah, it's strange. Could be a reflection of something.
Yeah, the movement's interesting.
The catacombs would be cool to visit, for sure. All right. Well,
the zoom shots. I mean, yeah, I don't know what the hell that is. It doesn't look like a reflection either. So I don't know.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get into the topic for the night, the Max Headroom incident. And before we get into the hijacking itself, let's talk a little bit about Max Headroom himself. Max Headroom was already a strange character before anybody used him to interrupt television. He was presented as a computer-generated personality, although the effect was actually actor Matt Frewer in heavy makeup, filmed against a stylized background and edited to stutter, skip, and glitch. Max looked like a television trying to imitate a human being and not quite getting it right. The character began in British television as part of a satirical dystopian world built around a media and corporate control. Then the satire became a celebrity. Max appeared in an American television series and became the face of Coca-Cola advertising. So by 1987, he occupied this very odd place in pop culture. He was a parody of commercial television who had become a commercial television star. Then somebody put on his face and used it to break into an actual broadcast. That choice is one reason people still wonder whether this was more than a prank. A ski mask would have hidden the intruder. A monster mask would have made the footage frightening. Max Headroom made the interruption feel like television itself had malfunctioned and started mocking the people who controlled it. Maybe that symbolism was intentional. Maybe it simply looked funny on camera. And maybe the person wearing it understood that Max was the perfect face to make viewers stop and wonder whether the interruption was real. So what do you guys think of Max Headroom as the face they chose for this? What stands out to you about that? And what does that choice add to the incident before we even hear a word from the person behind the mask?
It is very interesting that that's who they went with. And Max Headroom is I'm shocked they haven't done a reboot of that. It just feels very timely right now, what they could do with that character. Yeah, I don't know. I'm actually kind of curious to see the footage again. I've seen it before, but what he exactly says, I don't remember exactly.
We'll get into some of that. I'm not sure if I have like the actual wording here, but that footage is out there.
Yeah,
and it's captioned if you want to really watch the actual footage. Cliff Booth is out there. What's up, Cliff? Matt Frewer is the shit. Jim Carrey stole his whole entire gimmick. Parts of it for sure. So,
I think more than parts actually. Look at these. There's some where it like really did feel like he was watching that, and he's like, "I'm gonna do that."
Yeah. All right. Well, let's talk about the first hijacking. There was first interruption. At around 9 o'clock that Sunday night, WGN-TV was airing its evening news. Sports anchor Dan Roan was showing highlights from the Chicago Bears' victory over the Detroit Lions when the picture suddenly went black. Then the Max Headroom figure appeared. There was no clear speech during the first interruption. The masked person rocked back and forth while a loud buzzing sound filled the audio. Behind him, a sheet of corrugated metal moved in a way that imitated the computer-generated background used by the real Max Headroom. It was crude, but it was effective. For viewers at home, one of Chicago's biggest television stations had simply been replaced by a masked stranger. Inside WGN, engineers reacted quickly. They changed the frequency of the studio to transmitter link and regained control after roughly 25 seconds. Dan Roan returned to the screen looking understandably confused. He acknowledged that viewers had probably wondered what happened and then continued with the sports report. If the story ended there, the interruption might have become a brief piece of local television trivia. Somebody broke into WGN for a few seconds. Engineers stopped them. The station moved on. But somewhere in Chicago, the people responsible were apparently still active. They had proven they could reach a television transmitter, but they had not managed to show viewers very much. And less than 2 hours later, Max returned. So what do you guys make of the decision to come back after WGN shut down that first interruption? When you imagine the time between those two broadcasts, what possibilities begin to form for you in your thoughts?
The first thing I think is if I could do such a thing, it would definitely be porno on the screen. Like I would just immediately. Like I don't know which one.
We could break him with that tournament that we couldn't show on YouTube the other night.
Yeah, that would be what I would do. You know, oddly enough, I don't think there's any case of that really happening before or even after that I'm aware of.
No.
But I know that there's like some suspects that people always thought might have been behind it. I know there's like whole documentaries on this. You would think the person that did it would really want to get credit. I don't know if you just like cop to it now, what kind of trouble you'd be looking at.
Can't imagine much. Not now.
I mean, yeah, because I mean, where's the damage really? I mean, although I guess you probably would be interviewed, but I mean, if the person's even still alive, it's a long time ago now. But
coming up on 40 years.
Yeah. Maybe it was like a young. I don't know, like some computer genius. Maybe it's somebody known now. I have no idea how somebody hacks into WGN, so I can't speak to the technical side of it.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that stuff, the technical stuff either. When I think about this particular thing, it just makes me nostalgic for like that time when things like this could be shocking and just kind of, I don't know, like I'm sure somebody could do something like that today if they really wanted to. I don't know, maybe not. I don't know the ins and outs of it.
He should have just stood there for a second and then moved down and just had his like dick just helicoptering as long as he could keep it on WGN.
Yeah, I bet, Dan, if it was a thing, you would be like all into that like secret Videodrome network. If it was a thing, I bet you'd be all in that.
I'm definitely banging the VHS vagina. Yeah, for sure. I don't know. I hope they never find. I think it would lose something if you just found out it was just
like the mystery is more intriguing to me for sure.
Yeah, it's like just some dork that took a break from whacking it in his basement to hack into WGN. It's probably like, well, I'll be damned. It worked.
All right. Well, that wasn't where he ended. Let's go into the second interruption. At approximately 11:15 that night, viewers watching WTTW were in the middle of the Doctor Who serial Horror of Fang Rock. The picture flickered, then Max Headroom appeared again. This time the audio worked well enough to hear him, although the distortion and strange delivery made parts of the monologue difficult to understand. The intruder laughed, moaned, jumped between voices, and poured out a series of references that still feel like fragments of private jokes. He said he was better than Chicago sportscaster Chuck Swirsky. He called Swirsky a freaking liberal. He held up a can of Pepsi while repeating a version of Coca-Cola's Catch the Wave slogan, the campaign associated with the real Max Headroom. He mocked WGN using language connected to its world greatest newspaper identity. He hummed part of the theme from Clutch Cargo. He held up a glove and said his brother was wearing the other one. Every time the broadcast seems ready to become understandable, it turns in another direction. Then the camera angle changes. The mask comes off, although the performer's face remains out of view. He bends over with part of his ass exposed. A second person wearing a mask holding a fly swatter enters the frame. There is shouting, spanking, and more distortion.
See Jim Carrey talking with his ass. He's
there you go.
Beef.
Then the pirate signal disappears. Doctor Who returns as if nothing happened. The entire second intrusion lasts around 90 seconds. That does not sound long enough until you picture it happening live. 10 seconds is a strange technical problem. 30 seconds begins to feel deliberate. But by the time a full minute passes, viewers understand that the television station is not controlling what they're seeing. WTTW was unable to remove the signal before the hijackers ended it themselves. And for the people watching at home, there was no immediate explanation. The masked stranger vanished, the program resumed, and viewers were left to decide what they had just witnessed. Sitting with everything that happens during the second broadcast, what stays with you the most? It's got to be the ass spanked to the fly swatter, right?
Yeah, he should have just done like the talking with his ass, just like Matlock's a pussy. Matlock's a pussy. Fuck the Rockford Files. Yeah, that's hilarious. That's just hilarious to me. I kind of remember that now. I'm gonna watch all this shit when we're done.
Yeah.
God, that if he, how amazing would it be if he could just keep doing it and there's nothing they could figure to stop him?
Oh, that'd be so fucking funny.
This bi-physical media guy, he just starts talking with his ass cheeks the whole time. I love it. Whoever did it, if you're out there, maybe you're even watching this video, I say
maybe if you do, hop in the chat.
A lot more interesting than anything that happened on WGN.
Yeah.
Yes, hop in the chat. Wouldn't that be funny? Just yeah, you know,
I'll put you on air.
I'm trying to remember, was the one that like started whacking him with the fly swatter, were they in a mask or were they in some guys?
They were in a mask. I don't know what the mask was for sure, but
okay, I'm trying to remember that. I cannot recall.
But like I said, if you guys haven't seen these or it's been a while, they're definitely on YouTube, including as they go in from the sportscast into it on WGN and the lead in and lead out on the
Yeah, I'm gonna
PBS station
rewatch
too.
those. Yeah, I'm gonna rewatch them for sure.
All right, well let's talk about the about how you steal a television signal, because this is the part of the story that makes the incident feel almost impossible. How does someone outside a television station replace a major broadcast with a video of their own? The basic idea is more understandable than the execution. In 1987, a station could send its programming from the studio to a separate broadcast transmitter through a microwave, studio to transmitter link. That link carried the station's signal to the equipment that would send it over to the airwaves to viewers. If another person knew where that receiving equipment was, understood the frequency being used, had the proper transmission equipment, and could send a stronger signal along the right path, the receiver could pick up the unauthorized signal instead. The hijackers did not need to enter WGN or WTTW. They needed to overpower the signal traveling between the station and its transmitter. That explanation makes the intrusion sound straightforward, but investigators and engineers have emphasized the knowledge involved. Whoever did this understood broadcast technology well enough to identify vulnerable links, reach two different stations, and adjust after the first attempt was stopped. They also needed equipment, electrical power, a suitable location, and a clear path towards the receiving antennas. This was not somebody accidentally broadcasting a home video on the wrong channel. The performance was ridiculous. The operation behind it required planning. That contrast has always been one of the most interesting things about the case. The people responsible may have been highly trained professionals, electronics hobbyists, broadcast employees, engineering students, or members of the amateur radio community. Whoever they were, they knew enough to do something that almost nobody watching would have understood how to attempt. How does learning what it may have taken technically to accomplish this reshape the way you guys think you see the broadcast and the people behind it?
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. I mean, there probably wasn't any point to it so much as just just entertaining themselves.
Yeah.
I hope we don't ever find out, just because it's like, okay, that's kind of a boring answer. We're just tech geniuses. We were smoking some pot and we just decided to hack into WGN. I am curious how it never happened again after that, though.
Yeah.
You know what that was making me think of? I think is Orc says in the chat. So, like, you guys remember at that Super Bowl when Justin Timberlake ripped off Janet Jackson's top or whatever?
Yeah, on purpose.
So, like, if I understand correctly what was said at the time, that was live, and then after that, things were not live anymore.
They started to do it 10 seconds delay or whatever it was.
Right. Yeah, so, like, yeah, that's just crazy that just up until that point that we had everything live, you know? I mean, that's what I grew up with, live television, you know, so.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if he did it at the Super Bowl? Like, it's just like a game-winning pick, and then he just pops up. I'd like to ask you a question.
Yeah.
In the Max Headroom match. Everybody getting pissed.
Okay. So why WGN? The second interruption happened on WTTW, but much of the material appears to point back towards WGN. WGN was the first station attacked. Chuck Swirsky, the sportscaster mentioned by the intruder, was associated with WGN Radio. The pirate broadcast also mocked WGN's identity and made references that sounded rooted in Chicago media culture. That raises the possibility that WTTW was never the real target. Maybe the hijackers wanted their full tape to appear on WGN. When WGN engineers cut them off, they moved to another vulnerable station and transmitted the complete version there. If WGN was the focus, the motive could have been personal. It could have involved a current or former employee, an unsuccessful applicant, contractor, competitor, or someone who simply disliked the station. It could have also been affectionate ridicule from people deeply familiar with local broadcasting. The references are specific enough to feel meaningful, but too scattered to form an obvious complaint. There is no clear demand, no name, no explanation of what WGN supposedly did wrong. If this was revenge, the grievance remains hidden inside the joke. And if it was not revenge, WGN may have been chosen simply because breaking into one of Chicago's most recognizable stations made the prank feel bigger. I think it was Bozo the Clown, by the way. When you look at the repeated connections to WGN, what possibilities begin to open up for you? What kind of story might be hiding between those references?
I don't know. Maybe it was a former employee. I've heard those theories before.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if this has ever been floated, and I'm trying to like the exact dates and where if Max Headroom was renewed at that. I think it was on when this happened, right?
Yeah,
like
probably.
It was still active.
It was still big. It was still a hot property.
Like, I wonder if it was like trying to drum up some kind of. The funniest thing would be if it's a fanboy of Max Headroom that just wanted to,
What was it, Matt Frewer?
That would be hilarious. Like, one of the most criminally underused and appreciated actors out there.
Yeah.
Watch him on Eureka, actually, another show he was on for a while. But I don't know. That would be a really funny, since we're throwing out theories, if it was just like some fanboy.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to blow this shit up.
Yeah. Vince's viral marketing for sure.
You would think, I wonder if they know when they got through. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how that works. Like, are they just doing a bit and they don't know whether they've broken through yet? Is it like we're on, all right, let's go? Or are they just in the middle of something that they've been doing for the last half hour, hoping?
I'm assuming they probably had a monitor there keeping an eye on if they were coming through, but I wanted to bring up this from Connected. He's talking about some magazines just have tutorials about frequency transmitting. Yeah, I'm sure, if they weren't former television employees, they probably were amateur radio people or whatever. So,
can you imagine Saturday morning cartoons and then the Pam and Tommy video just came on?
Oh my God.
He just got Tommy steering the boat with his hog.
Just that.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Just, I fucking love you.
Oh,
I would have had a blast. See, imagine how if I was old enough in 1987 and had the tech know-how. Imagine the crazy shit you would see.
Yeah.
I would just break into everything.
All right. Well, the intrusion was not treated as harmless television comedy. Broadcast signal hijacking was a federal crime. The FCC investigated, and the people responsible faced the possibility of fines and prison time if they were identified. Investigators examined the technical requirements, and they tried to determine where the pirate signal could have originated. They were working backward from 2 brief transmissions that had already ended. There was no building to search, no transmitter left running, and no suspect standing beside the equipment. The hijackers did not give investigators a second chance. There was no follow-up broadcast, no letter to a newspaper, no tape sent to a television station. Nobody stepped forward to claim credit while the story was receiving national attention. The same behavior that made the incident mysterious also made it difficult to investigate. If the people involved had repeated the stunt, investigators could have monitored the frequencies and tried to locate the signal. If they had bragged to the wrong person, somebody might have talked. If they had included a clearer message, it might have pointed towards a motive or suspect. Instead, they performed once, disappeared, and allowed the story to grow without them. Maybe they understood how close they had come to being caught. Maybe the equipment was borrowed and had to be returned. Maybe the entire goal was to simply prove that it could be done. Or maybe everyone involved made a private agreement never to speak about it again. So, what do you guys make of the silence that followed? How does the fact that they never repeated it, explained it, or publicly took credit affect the way you understand how it went down?
Well, they're probably terrified of the prison time.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, I think that answers that. From what I can gather, they could pretty much, like, I don't know how you would even prove it at this point, really, but I mean, they could, I would think, take total credit and nothing would happen to them at this point. They'd probably get a big YouTube show or something. So I don't know. But they could be dead. Again, it's been 40 years. I mean, how old were they at the time? I mean, I'm guessing on the younger side, so they're probably still around, but
yeah, I mean, they're probably 60 plus though at this time.
Yeah,
I'd say they're probably in their 20s.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's pretty cool, like just the idea of doing that and not coming forward. I think that's just fucking awesome. It's just, well, I mean, like, if they were to reveal themselves, it would be interesting for like one day and then it'd be over.
Yeah. Yep.
It'd be funny. I don't know. I just like to see the cool old dude just like, yeah, it was me. Here's the mask. Here's how I did it. And yeah, I don't know. Wasn't there somebody that tried to take credit for it at one time?
I don't know. We're going to talk about suspects that have been kind of thrown out there here in this segment. So we'll see if that comes up here. An unsolved mystery with old video footage, technical clues, and connections to the 1980s nerd culture was always going to attract online investigators. People have studied the intruder's voice, body shape, phrasing, and movements. They've examined the background, the props, and the possible locations from which the signal could have been transmitted. Theories have focused on broadcast engineers, former station employees, electronic students, video artists, hackers, and amateur radio operators. One of the best-known online theories involved two brothers who were referred to publicly only as J and K. A writer using the name Bowie Pogue believed the pair resembled people he had known and may have possessed the personality and technical background necessary to attempt the stunt. The theory spread widely, but after investigating further, Pogue backed away from it. He said he no longer believed the brothers were responsible. That reversal matters because an unsolved case can attach itself to a person's name even after the person who raised the theory has rejected it. Suspicion becomes a headline. The correction becomes a footnote. Other amateur investigators have suggested that they may have learned information pointing towards people involved, but they have stopped short of publicly naming anyone and have acknowledged that they cannot be completely certain. That creates an unusual question. Suppose somebody really has come close to solving it. The incident happened in 1987. Nobody was physically harmed. The people involved may now be elderly or may no longer be alive. Publicly naming them could complete a piece of television history, but it could also turn an unproven theory into a permanent accusation. The mystery is interesting. Real people still exist behind it. If an investigator eventually found a convincing answer, what do you think they would need to weigh before sharing it? And how should the history, the mystery, and the lives of people involved sit beside one another?
I don't know, like, damage wise that there's anything. Like, what do you think, like, legally should happen to the person now? I mean, is it even worth trying it at this point? I mean, there's nothing malicious. He didn't show anything, like, pornographic or anything. It's just
My question is there some kind of statute of limitations on something like that?
apparently I thought it was like 30 years, so they'd be
we're past that. So,
and at that point, a lot of the laws were kind of dicey, anyways, when it came to some of this stuff. So, I don't think anything would happen to the person, but maybe they themselves are looking at it as does putting like just some, at the bare minimum, dude in his late 50s face to it. Doesn't that kind of kill this legend? I mean, like here's Miles, just retiree and somewhere in Indiana. Like
I feel like this is the time to come out if you're still out there, because he called the one guy a freaking liberal. So I feel like the FCC now is going to say, these are our guys. So,
that, yeah, you're safe now.
Yeah. Do it now before a couple of years from now.
Yeah, no, that'd be awesome. And you know what's really wild about it? If that guy is still out there, there's a decent chance he might watch this video and every video on it. I mean, it's probably his claim to fame. So, yeah, dude, if you're still out there, we're not even
shoot us a message.
Yeah,
we'll have you on Monday Night Live for sure.
We will have you on. You can either appear as you, or you can just appear in the Max Headroom map.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Can you imagine what the mask used is worth now? If someone had it and sold it, it'd be
fortune, probably. Yeah.
That'd be a cool relic to have. And it may be sitting on someone's mantle as this piece of pride of what they accomplished, So
it's out there. Come on the show.
Yeah,
that would be sick. Oh my god.
All right. Was the interruption the message? If you read a transcript of the WTTW broadcast, it looks like nonsense. Chuck Swirsky, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, WGN, Clutch Cargo, a glove, a fly swatter. It feels like somebody fed Chicago television in 1987 into a blender. But perhaps searching for a hidden meaning inside every sentence is the wrong approach. Max Headroom began as a satire of a future controlled by television networks and corporate advertising. By 1987, that rebellious character was appearing in the commercials for one of the biggest companies in the world. Then an unknown group took that corporate version of Max, broke into television without permission, mocked the network, mocked the advertising, and forced thousands of viewers to watch something the station could not control. Viewed that way, the interruption resembles culture jamming, using the language and symbols of mass media to disrupt or parody mass media itself. The intruders may not have needed a coherent speech. The act of taking control may have been the statement. For 90 seconds, the relationship between the viewer and the broadcaster was reversed. The station that normally controlled the screen became helpless, and an anonymous person with homemade scenery decided what Chicago would see. That does not mean the performance was deeply philosophical. Something can be clever, juvenile, artistic, and stupid at the same time. The people responsible may have wanted nothing more than to make their friends laugh. But by choosing Max Headroom and invading television, they created an image that carried more meaning than they may have intended. Sometimes the audience builds the message after the artist disappears. When you step back from the individual words and look at the intrusion as a complete event, what meaning, if any, begins to emerge for you?
I just want to believe that it was just some dude in his dorm room just cracking up his friends. Just like they're off to the side. Do this. Oh, if I were a smart person, I would just make it look like it was Cool Duder. Can you imagine Cool Duder and his bullshit just interrupting like all these different shows? Hi guys, for only $100, you can get a producer credit on Amityville.
He'd interrupt and show fucking Amityville Karen, and everybody fucking kill themselves.
Oh my god! You know what? I'm surprised nobody has done. I don't think I've seen this. Like, there was a parody with that makeup dude. I think his name is James Charles, where it's like people doing like ghost hunting, and then he appears out of nowhere and he like screams or whatever. Like, I can't believe nobody has done that with Cool Duder, where it's just like people looking for like ghosts, and you just hear, "Hey guys, Shanti Phil's here." Like, that'd be so fucking funny.
I just want to do it, and then they raid like fucking Cool Duder's house, and they just find like all these bodies in the crawl space. America's worst serial killer, Mr. Chauncey Billups, was apprehended today in his compound after an 8-hour standoff with police.
Oh gosh.
He just like ties like grenades to like some of his shitty movies and just throws them out.
Dan, this has to culminate with you at one of these wrestling events, just one-on-one with Cool Duder.
I'm calling you out, Cool Duder. I will slap the rest of the hair off your head.
Well, that won't take long.
We'll make it happen. He's in the area. He can answer the challenge.
Yeah, he is. Yeah,
it's true. All right. Could this mystery exist today? The exact technical method used in 1987 would be much harder to reproduce against modern digital broadcast systems. But television stations, streaming platforms, and communication networks can still be hacked or disrupted in different ways. The larger difference may be what happens after the interruption. Today, viewers would record the screen instantly. Clips would appear online before the broadcast ended. People would compare versions, isolate the audio, and analyze individual frames. Online investigators would identify the mask, the fly swatter, the metal backdrop, and the room's possible dimensions. Someone would recognize the performer's voice. Somebody else would study reflections in the mask. Location data, security cameras, online purchases, and digital communication could create trails that did not exist in 1987. At the same time, the internet would fill the case with misinformation. Edited clips would circulate beside the original. False confessions would appear. Innocent people would be identified with absolute confidence by strangers who had never met them. The Max Headroom incident occurred during a narrow period when individuals had access to enough technology to interrupt mass media, but investigators and the public did not yet have the digital tools to now make anonymity so difficult. The mystery belongs to that moment. It came through a television screen, frightened and confused viewers for 90 seconds, then vanished before anyone could reach for a second device. What feels different when you imagine something like this happening today? Which parts of the mystery might survive and which parts would disappear almost immediately?
it just wouldn't be fun anymore. That's exactly what I was saying earlier.
Yeah.
Everything you're talking about, the way people would just like, because people do that, right? Like they'll like watch a stream, like if like somebody hits their dog, and then like within hours, there's police are at those people's door or whatever. Like they dissect every little thing.
Yeah. I think everything thinks everything is faked nowadays too. That's my feel when I see videos, and like we'll watch these I watch those videos that are like compilations of scare pranks or whatever, and you can automatically call out the ones that are fake. Like, oh, that's a fake reaction. You know what I mean? So I don't think people were like making shit like that back then. I don't know.
It was a little earlier, but I would just like, you see the Max Headroom face, and then Goodbye Horses hits, and then he just starts like doing.
I stole that from him too.
He just tucks his dick, and they're panicking. Like, get him off, back to Murph and sports.
All right, well let's do a final file review here. So where does that leave us? On November 22nd, 1987, at least 2 people with real technical knowledge and access to specialized equipment prepared a strange video, transmitted it over signals of 2 Chicago's television stations, and disappeared. They might have had a grudge against WGN. They may have been performing for a small group of friends. They may have seen the entire thing as a piece of anti-media art. The likely explanation is probably more human than any elaborate conspiracy. A small group realized they could do something nobody around them believed was possible. Once they realized they could do it, the ability itself may have been the motive. They did not need to deliver a political manifesto. Their message could have just been simple as this: we are on your television and you cannot stop us. For 90 seconds, that statement was true. The FCC could not identify them. The stations could not explain their performance. Decades of amateur investigation have produced possibilities, but no publicly proven answer. Somewhere, there may be people who lived completely ordinary lives after that night. They went to work, they raised families, they watched technology change, they watched their private joke become the subject of news reports, documentaries, podcasts, and endless internet threads. And every few years, that rubber mask appears again. Maybe somebody sees it and smiles. Maybe they are amazed that people still care. Or maybe the people who knew the answer are gone, and the Max Headroom incident will remain an anonymous message from a very specific moment in television history. After everything we've gone through, what picture has formed in your mind of the people behind the Max Headroom incident?
I'd say like funny smart asses that were probably a blast to hang out with. They probably look and sound like the cast of Lone Gunmen. So I have something like that in my head. Because you're right, they probably at least 60. But there was at least 2 of them, probably more. And some of those guys are still with us, or gals.
I think it's punk as fuck. That's what I think.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I just hope that mask is on prominent display in their house or wherever. So
I hope they never got rid of it. I mean, even in 1987, this was a big deal.
Yeah.
So
for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I hope it's in some glass display case, and yeah, I don't know.
Makes me want to track down one of those masks, honestly.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I wonder how easy it is to get. Well, I mean, there's probably like Etsy versions. It may not be the same thing.
Probably.
Team version, I'm sure.
Yeah, it fucking looks horrible, probably. It's got Michael Myers' hair. Well, that's where we're going to close the file on Max Headroom incident. Nobody disappeared. Nobody was murdered. There was no ghost, no UFO, and no creature in the woods. There was only a mask, a homemade background, a stolen signal, and 90 seconds of television that nobody has been fully able to explain. When you watch the interruption, what do you see in it? A joke between friends? A personal message nobody else was meant to understand? A statement about television and the people controlling it? Or something that still has not occurred to any of us? Tell us where the broadcast takes your mind and what you believe may have been happening behind the mask. If there's another mystery you want us to open here on Midnight Files, leave that in the comments too. Until next time, keep the lights low, keep asking questions, and if television suddenly starts talking to you, maybe do not assume it's part of the show. So that is the Midnight Files for tonight. Hope you enjoyed this one. It's fun to kind of dive into all the intricate pieces of this thing. Kind of a different Midnight Files from what we've been doing, but an interesting one none the least. You got any final thoughts on Max Headroom, Dan?
Go watch the original TV movie, which is 85. Max Headroom, 20 minutes into the future. That's the origin story before the show. And he's a great character. It's something, again, I'm shocked hasn't been put out again. But I would say it has to be Matt Frewer. He's still out there. It should be Matt Frewer playing the role.
Yeah, I think they could, kind of do what they have to do now to be able to do that with him. So,
yeah,
even at his older age now. Any final thoughts, Drew?
Just keep tearing down the machine. That's what I gotta say.
Hell yeah.
I should have downloaded those clips and had him interrupt us as we were going out. But
hell yeah, I keep hoping that's gonna happen.
Yeah, I unfortunately didn't. I was working today, so sorry. It would have been a cool outro, but I want to thank everybody out in the chat though. Oric, Connected, Ben Grimm, Buster. Am I missing anybody? I don't think so. If I do, I apologize. But thank you all for being here. Thank you for those of you that are members. Cliff Booth, he was out there too. Appreciate all you do to support the channel, and appreciate you checking out the streams. And we'll be back Monday night for a Monday Night Live, topic to be determined because I got no clue yet. But also tonight, Sunday night, 10 p.m. Central. As I said, another Bell Classics with Voices from the Grave, BEVPs on that one. So that's always a popular show. So, and Greg Bundy too. I missed him. So, but for myself, Dan, and Drew, everybody, take it easy.
Later.